DeSanto Propane is 4 generations strong as a trustworthy family-owned business with unmatched customer service. Go online at DeSantoPropane.com for more info or call toll-free at 1-800-752-4574. Since 1937, the difference has been DeSanto Propane.
All right, everybody, welcome into Fresh Takes with Russo and Felice. I am Paul Russo. That is Nick Felice. That's right. I got to keep you on your toes, Nick.
I'm a little down, man. My New York TGL team is already in the basement.
Oh, that makes two of us.
That's your team?
I'm a TGL guy because of Ricky Fowler.
What about Jupiter?
For New York? Well, we'll see. I actually liked it. I didn't have it planned to talk about it on the docket today, mostly because kind of wanted to get a couple under the belt before we get going with it.
It was live though.
It was.
Yeah.
It threw me off because Marty Smith posted something on his story Sunday, like at the place, and it was taken down in pretty quick order. I noticed, and I was like, so it threw me off.
I thought it was pretty organized, pretty smoothly.
Yeah.
I thought, and it was pretty quick, as semi golf is quicker.
Yep.
And I thought the team aspect was kind of cool.
It was a lot of fun. I was able to tune in for a little bit. It was a lot of fun.
My brother did mention this and makes a good point. I like how they did those two teams first, and then they have Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy the next 2 weeks. Yeah. It's just like to get people to keep coming back and watching. Yeah. Smart.
Oh, for sure. So we'll get to some other stuff here.
Speaking of something else that's smart,
go ahead.
Did you enjoy my Chicago Bears prediction? Picky that they would go into Lambeau.
We'll get to that in a moment because first we have to thank some of our other sponsors, Nick. Cafe 19, breakfast, lunch, pastries, celebratory cakes, pies, and catering. Guaranteed fresh and always local at Cafe 19 in Seneca Falls. Also offering an assortment of beverages, including tea, coffee, and espresso drinks. That would be pretty clutch today, I would say. Pretty cold. You could check out their full menus and weekly specials at xixcafe.com. And Perfect Pear Eatery, quality carryout cuisine in Seneca Falls. Everything made fresh and in-house with smoked meats, comfort classics, desserts, sweet treats, sure to please the entire family for lunch or dinner. Also offering a business lunch drop-off on Monday or Tuesday. You can reach out perfectpeareatery.com or call them 315-712-4004 and look for the yellow door at 64 West Baird Street. So, what's NFL regular season, right?
Is over.
We're done. Wild card weekend upon us. I want to focus mostly on the weekend ahead, but like you mentioned, Nick, go ahead, take your victory lap about the Chicago Bears. Going to Lambeau and getting a win.
I wasn't happy about the other one. I almost got the Cowboys one right, too, which was kind of interesting.
Almost doesn't matter, buddy.
No, but, Chicago Bears went into Lambeau Field. You've seen the video back. I replayed it, showed it to you. You were a little flabbergasted by that pick. But, I'm 17 games back. I had to make a push somewhere, And, Chicago Bears, game-winning field goal, pretty impressive stuff. So, obviously, I did not see Christian Watson going down right away. And then, Jordan Love also got hurt a little bit. So, didn't see that coming. But, good for Ryan Poles. At least I'm over here rooting for Canandaigua, local GM here, rooting for him, even though they're hiring 50 coaches or whatever.
Yeah, I'm hoping for him too.
They just need to pick one, and hopefully it sticks.
Yeah.
And hopefully he keeps his job there.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was alluding to there for a minute, but
go Bears.
It really strange Black Monday for coaching as well. Got going technically, I guess, on Sunday. Gerard Mayo getting fired by the Patriots after 1 year. They can say that they're going to do due diligence. If it's not Mike Vrabel, I will be very surprised at that point. Other than that, bit of a toss-up, right? Already mentioned the Bears, but we knew about that job. We already knew about the Jets. Peterson gets fired down in Jacksonville. And then obviously the
Colts
Raiders.
keep their coach.
Well, I was about to get to that after the tail end of this year, because then the Raiders also firing Pierce. Technically Tuesday, I guess, yesterday. So,
Interesting.
yeah, I guess surprising or not really surprising. I'll say this, and people can say what they kind of want to. Don't know if the Peterson firing was fully warranted in the sense of actual football stuff. I'd say if anything, it's probably the GM that maybe needs to be looked at more there, and somehow he survived it. But I mean, hey, when you're a team that actually has the talent that Jacksonville has, and you aren't really kind of being successful with it,
Yeah.
probably a change is warranted, right? Interesting part here is, do we see any changes from any of the playoff teams this year? I don't necessarily know that we do, unless one of the teams hiring comes swooping in, I think.
Yeah.
You seem to, though your reaction makes me think that there might
I
be
think if
at
there's
least one.
There's a couple teams, if they lose this weekend, could fire their coach.
Okay.
One of them, I'm still not. I know it's not going to happen, but the Eagles coach,
Yeah, well,
Sirianni,
yeah.
if they lose to Green Bay after how last season ended, here's another one. And I think you've mentioned this earlier this season. John Harbaugh loses his week to Steelers. I wouldn't be surprised he gets canned. They're going to want to put a new voice in there. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose this week. Also, I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Tomlin goes, too.
Okay, so that was the one I did want to talk more about to some degree, only because all of a sudden, the past 48 or so hours, there's been a, and look, do I actually think this happens? No. But where there's smoke, there's fire in sports. He's been linked to the Chicago job all of a sudden.
Mike Tomlin.
Yes.
Trading him, too, right?
Yes. I don't know. Look, people who have listened and watched this podcast for pretty much the whole duration we've been on, right, know that I'm, frankly, for what this is, right, anti-Tomlin. I think he's a good coach. I don't think he's great. I don't think he's bad. I think he's a good coach, right? But I think, if you're an organization that the Steelers like to think they are, then I don't know why he's still there after all these years. I agree with you on that sense. I just don't know, I don't see it happening. I don't see, the Kevin O'Connell one happening either. Trading for a coach is,
You
beyond...
trading for O'Connell?
Yeah, beyond rare. I think the last, and I could be wrong, I think the last one in any pro sport was, Doc Rivers from the Celtics to the Clippers. And I could be wrong.
Didn't get traded? That was probably before, though.
Well, that would have been pretty much, the same year technically, actually, then, now that I'm
Was
thinking
it around that same time?
Yeah, 2012.
He got traded, right?
Was he a trade or was he a free agent?
I can't remember.
They might have traded, actually, you might be right, because I think they did trade him because they didn't want to fire him because he was a White Sox lifer. But the point being, right, we have, rare, and I think before that, the last coach, and I, again, could be wrong, I feel like the last one before that might have been the Knicks trading Riley to the Heat.
Yeah. Remember when
it's rare. It's rare in the modern day.
Not to get too sidetracked. Remember when the Celtics wanted a star player for Brad Stevens?
Yes.
And it didn't happen. But this is crazy to think about that now. Imagine trading.
They're kind of right.
Was he coach though? He's done a good job in the front office, and he's a great coach. But for a star player,
I've always thought at worst he's a very good coach, only because you look at what some of those Celtics teams he had were when he was coaching, and he got them to the playoffs. I don't, not to disrespect whatever here, right? But if Marcus Smart is your leading offensive player, you probably have no business really sniffing the playoffs.
And they were
right
in there,
and they were pretty solidly in a few of those years.
Yep.
So, that's just what I'm saying.
That was during the LeBron Cavs time, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, around that same era.
The second, yeah.
Yeah. So we've seen it.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to see it here.
No, it would have to be, I think, any three of those teams that we kind of mentioned, right? Being the Eagles, Steelers, and Ravens, which is funny because the Steelers and Ravens do play each other. Yeah. I think it would have to be.
I'm leaning.
It would have to be some sort of really bad football that we're seeing in order for it to happen.
Parting ways, it's more towards the Ravens. If John Harbaugh loses this game, they might need a new voice.
Yeah. Because, I mean, to be fair, though, he kind of fits what I talk about with Tomlin a lot, and I mentioned it with him earlier this year. I mean, frankly, outside of, 1 year, what have they really kind of done at this point? The one that's interesting, and I don't think it happens because there's been no talk of it, but, especially this year, it's tough because they did have some injury to skill position guys. And I don't see it happening because they are underdogs in this game anyway. How much longer do you think LaFleur's got in Green Bay? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see what you're thinking. They really didn't prove this year because they're a 7 seed again.
Yeah.
Was that what they were last year?
Yeah.
When they upset the
Yeah, 7.
Cowboys?
Yeah, 7, yeah.
Yeah, they were the first 7 seed to win. And
it's different this year though. They had more injuries as skill position guys, so it's tougher to see it. I would say
it's a different path to the 7 seed.
Yeah.
Yes, but they're the 7 seed again.
Yeah.
So, and if they lose this game, they didn't do as good as they did last year. They didn't go as far, and I don't know if I see him winning this week.
Yeah.
But I don't see him getting fired because they look at him. They look at him kind of like Kyle Shanahan because they're all part of that stupid tree.
Right.
Your favorite tree,
Yeah.
the Washington tree there,
Yeah.
the Shanahan tree.
Yeah.
But they look at these guys as geniuses. So it's like with McVay. I don't see him getting fired either.
No, and McVay's a different one because that team has really come on.
Yeah.
I mean, this year, and they've obviously dealt with injuries all year this year anyway too. So
I wouldn't say I would be surprised if LaFleur got canned if he lost this
I just
game.
don't see it.
I don't see it.
Yeah, but he's the only other one I think kind of fits the.
I don't see Sirianni either, but
Like I said, I think for any of the main three we talked about, I think it's got to be some yeah. I mean, you laid an egg and then some type football. I think. Either way,
but it's that Ravens Steelers game. Those are the two coaches.
Yeah,
I think could be elsewhere next year.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we're going to kind of combine our picks here with talking with these games this week. Just going to be easier that way, frankly, more than anything else. So I'll get this part up front.
Also, I just want to say something real quick about the Chiefs. Did they really try in that game?
Well, it doesn't matter for the sake of our picks, Nick, because I went 12-4. You went 11-5. So I won the regular season. I get the hair advantage here in the playoff for our picks, but either way,
yeah, you dominated.
Yeah, it's nice.
I think I started off first couple weeks, and you just took control. I think there was 1 week where you dominated me.
I mean, I won by 19 games, so 181-89 record for me, 162-108 for you.
But I was doing against the spread.
No. This isn't college with me. So, okay. So we'll get into this first. Obviously, the first game, Death Texas, the Houston Texans playing on Saturday for Wild Card Weekend.
Wow, they're on Saturday for Wild Card Weekend.
I know. I'm shocked too. The first game, even as usual. So
yeah.
Chargers at the Texans. Interesting game. This one to me is the one I foresee maybe that quote unquote the underdog lower seed as a bigger favorite of sort, which is kind of crazy because that would make them not the underdog in this scenario. And you look at it, that's the case. I mean, Vegas right now has the Chargers as a 3-point favorite on the road against Houston. This Texans team, I'm going to call it regressed. I don't think it's necessarily regression just yet, but compared to what was last year, right, it's regression. How much of that is a sophomore slump for a lot of guys, obviously?
Injuries.
We'll find out, right? Exactly. But the fact of the matter is, not as good as the team as they were last year at the end of the day. Chargers, as we know, past couple of years have been interesting, right? This was kind of the year that they probably were expecting the past couple of years. Jim Harbaugh goes out there, kind of sets a new tone and everything. Probably in a spot they didn't necessarily think they were going to be in at the start of the year, but here they are. It is the 5 seed. I lean Chargers in this game only because it's weird I'm saying it this way. It just feels like they just have way more experience in this scenario more than anything else, which is crazy because this is a Texans team that was in this spot last year and not the Chargers. But I think the fact that Herbert's kind of been in the spot before, number of those guys on the Chargers have been as well, whether hurt or not hurt. A guy like Dobbins If he's been around the Ravens, right, his whole career up to this year, he knows what's going on. Same with like a guy like Gus Edwards, but the defense for the Chargers have been pretty good as well. And I think more than anything, it's the sideline. Jim Harbaugh. I mean, you can say what you want about him, but those guys are going to be out there and ready to go for the team on Saturday when they get to Houston.
He's a better coach than that other coach they had. He's blanking my name right now. What was his name?
Yeah.
Staley.
Yeah.
Staley.
My brain's like Zach Taylor.
There's a slim chance, I don't think it's going to happen, that the two LA teams could be hosting the conference championship games on the same day.
No.
Even though that's...
Whoa. How would that work?
My brother saw a video of this yesterday. How would they do that? How would they change... Well, it's turf, right?
Yeah.
It'd probably just be a 1 o'clock game and an 8 o'clock game, right?
Maybe.
You want to know what the funny part about that video is?
But the interesting thing about that, though, is now that I'm thinking about it, is they don't swap it out like traditional you would think. They do paint.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, my God.
How would they do that?
I don't know.
You want to know what the funny part about the video is? This has been the case for the Giants and Jets for years, and it's never happened.
What's that say?
It's not going to happen, but because they're too low seeds. They're 4 and 5?
Yeah, well, no. No, Rams are the 3.
No.
Right? No, yeah.
Washington's
right,
6.
My bad, yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be slim, but I was just curious.
You never know.
It's just a weird point. It's like, man, what if they both host the conference championship game on the same day?
Oh, my gosh.
I think the Chargers are just a better team right now. They've been a boring team. Jim Harbaugh's teams are pretty boring, but they're good. And I don't see either one of these teams getting past the divisional round. But someone's got to win this game. Someone's got to play at 4 o'clock on Saturday. And, of course, it's the Texans. And they're banged up. C.J. Stroud has definitely regressed.
Yeah.
Almost like it's kind of crazy. I'm throwing this out there. After 2 years, is Bryce Young better?
But that's what I mean. Why is I know it's regressed, but I think for the moment you still have to call a sophomore slump.
I know because it was just last year. People were saying how, oh my God, they made a terrible decision taking Bryce Young.
No,
not so much right now, but
not so fast, my friend.
Yes, I like the Chargers in this game. I don't like the Chargers going forward. I think this is a 3-team race in the AFC. I think a lot of people agree with me on that because clearly it is.
Yeah.
It's Pittsburgh, Denver, and
Pittsburgh, Denver, and Houston. Even though you're taking the Chargers.
Yeah, no, but I'm gonna go Chargers in this game. But I think it's Kansas City, Baltimore, and Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm going Chargers as well here. In terms of like picking, right, you just have to take the better team that's rolling right now. It's the postseason, right? It's a one-game sample. Yeah, no, one-game sample size type thing, right? It's look, not to go apples and oranges here, but it's like when we talk about with March Madness, right? Like who's actually been like good through the tournaments, the conference tournaments and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, I have to go there as well.
Ladd McConkey going to make an impact in this game?
You would think. You would think. Second game on Saturday, the aforementioned Pittsburgh-Baltimore game.
On Prime.
This is on Prime. This is the biggest line of the weekend in terms of spread. 9.5. Baltimore's favorite at home. I think justifiably these teams met a couple weeks ago. Oh, God. I mean, I just don't see a way with the way they've been playing. I know it's stating the obvious.
Yeah.
I just don't see the way the Steelers have been playing lately that they have a chance.
I will say I'd be stunned if Pittsburgh won this game.
Yeah.
But if it happens, I don't want to hear about how great Lamar Jackson is ever again.
Right, and that goes back to something that we've talked about all year, where it's like it just feels like he's
a playoff choker.
Yeah, I mean, and look, I think you can make the case there's a couple guys on Pittsburgh in a similar way. I'm not going to sit here and whatever, but like.
But he struggled against Pittsburgh in the past, though.
Yeah.
This is not the first round matchup they were probably hoping for.
Oh, absolutely not.
And this game, I like Pitt. I don't know. I like Pittsburgh to cover 9.5, but I could also see Baltimore blowing them out because it is the playoffs. I'm going to take Baltimore in this game, but I think it's going to be close.
So I'm thinking similar to you. I got Baltimore straight up, but I think Pittsburgh covers that 9.5 pretty well.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Baltimore did cover it.
I mean, yeah, it's a double-edged sword with this type of deal, right? Because, and you mentioned it, like what in his past has given us the faith in Lamar Jackson to get this thing done?
I know, nothing.
Pretty little, right? But that being said, I just mentioned on the other side, what in the past 2 months has given you reason to believe in Pittsburgh? Nothing. Especially, frankly, and this is the wild part, especially the way that they finished last week against the Bengals in that game.
And they were trying that.
I mean, look, I said this at the start of the year, whatever. Russell Wilson, like, relatively speaking, is still like a good quarterback, right? But frankly, he did. He lost them the game there at the end, or at least took away the shot of like having an opportunity to send it to OT. I mean, like, I don't know what fully he was thinking there, but at the same token, I don't know what the play calling exactly was either. And that's the thing with this, where it's like, if you're Pittsburgh, man, you better hope it just turns into some sort of defensive battle where you just kind of get into field goal range enough that Boswell can keep in it.
So you don't see a Russell Wilson, Pittsburgh-Denver revenge AFC championship?
No, I do not. No. Speaking of that, AFC first 3 games, Sunday at 1 o'clock, Denver at Buffalo. Spread's 8.5 in that game. The Bills are favorites. This is going to be an interesting game, I think. Kind of like you with the Steelers and Ravens. Apologies. I'm all aboard the Bills on this game. I think Denver's going to keep it close, though. I mean, this is a pretty... Denver's defense is legit. The question is whether that offense is going to be able to sustain with Bo Nix in a first-time playoff environment. But I brought this up earlier this week. I think people kind of forget a little bit. Bo Nix played big-time college football, right? Auburn in the SEC, Oregon in what was the final years of the Pac-12.
Still a thing.
The OG Pac-12. Those environments,
tough.
Equally, if not more tough than most NFL environments. Even the playoffs, even Orchard Park.
Mm-hmm.
Still,
Sideline as well.
Still, though, there's an element of rookie quarterback in the NFL playoffs.
Sideline, just like the Chargers.
Kind of-ish. I think McDermott and Peyton are much more on equal footing than DeMarco Ryan and Jim Harbaugh are.
Yeah.
Understand what you're saying. Let's not act like Sean Payton hasn't overthought himself out of a couple playoff games. You know what I mean? So, that being said, I just think Buffalo's... I don't know if they're necessarily a team of destiny in the sense of like playoff or in the sense of championship sense. But like if it's going to happen, it's got to be this year. And I think at least for the wild card game, right, they get it done.
I've never been to an NFL game. I've never been to Buffalo, obviously. Well, Buffalo.
You've been to Buffalo.
Orchard Park, the stadium. And I just saw a video on TikTok about their waffle fries. They have this boat thing. It's called a boathouse, I think. It's
no idea.
It's over a foot long thing of waffle fries, and it's got like one side of it is like Buffalo style like waffle fries, and the other side will be whoever the road team style. Like if it's like New York, it will be something New York related.
Like pizza?
No, it's all waffle fries.
No, right. I'm saying like,
but it's like the sauce on it.
Yeah, like so what would Denver be then?
Yeah. So like anyway, I gotta look this up. There's like, so they're going to create this waffle fries, and like half of it's going to be Buffalo style, and then the other one's going to be Denver style. And I got to show you the video after the show here. And it looked awesome.
Keep talking. I'm going to try and look this up as we go here. So,
yeah, Yeah, it's like called the boat. It's boat something waffle fries at Buffalo Bills, and you'll find it. Anyway, I think this game could be a blowout. I mean, we've seen Buffalo in this game before, and they've blown out their opponent in this game. We've also seen some times where Skylar Thompson can compete. He really gave Buffalo all he could handle in that one playoff game that one year. So, but Buffalo, this is not an easy first round matchup as well. The rookie quarterback's going to be a key part in this, but I think Sean Payton's going to come up with a good game plan.
Oh my good God!
You found it?
Kind of.
What's it called? A boathouse?
So it's called the Battle Boat.
Battle Boat.
The Bad Blood waffle fries in the Battle Boat and Bad Blood waffle fries. 2 foot long dish of waffle fries. One half Bill's team, the other half the opponent's team.
Yeah.
Oh my good God!
I saw that on TikTok. It was the Jets. It was the Jets game, and
Okay, right.
and it looked awesome.
I mean, the Kansas City one looks freaking Buffalo. It's like that one's like Buffalo, like obviously Buffalo style on one side and barbecue on the other. Oh my God!
Makes me want to go.
Well, yes, but no.
But anyway,
I'm trying to find one that's like.
I wonder what Denver would be.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like what? I don't know, man. Who knows?
But
There's one food thing about Denver I do know, and I don't think they're putting it on waffle fries. I can tell you that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-mm.
Rocky Mountain oysters.
Oh,
Do you know what those are?
oyster?
No,
No,
they're bull testicles.
really.
Yeah, they're like deep fried. People love them.
Maybe they'll put it on there.
I don't think they are.
It's $28, but it's a pretty.
I don't know. Okay, now I might be out.
But it's pretty big
I don't think I could justify paying $28, frankly, for the end of the day for fries. At the end of the day.
But that's how much it was. But anyway, I like Buffalo to win this game by double figures. I like the cover.
So you're going big time on this one, though.
And I just think they're ready. They played in plenty of playoff games, and they're going to be prepared. They're going to have the home field. I think, truth to be told, I think their playoff starts next week when they play Baltimore.
Okay, interesting.
And that's a tough road.
Yeah.
Baltimore, Kansas City, potentially Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough.
The 4:00 Sunday game, we get to the NFC. Green Bay at Philly. Philly's a 4.5-point favorite. Still technically question marks surrounding this game.
Jalen Hurts practiced today?
It's trending that he is playing. I'll phrase it that way. Still technically has to clear protocol. Still has to do the independent testing and all that stuff. But has done now a couple walkthroughs. As far as I know, he did practice today. Kind of seems like he's trending in the direction of play. I think, too, also, I think they've released Ian Book yesterday, who was kind of their third-string emergency back,
Makes you
emergency
think
guy. So it looks like it's trending that way. The crazy part is, don't know how much of a difference that was going to make for me on this pick. This is, I guess, maybe the only true outright upset I have.
Really?
I'm going Green Bay here. I don't know if it's so much put up or shut up, but Philly's been in a really weird spot all year. Came out of the gates pretty rough, as we knew. Finally get going, and they hit this high gear, and they were rolling through pretty much that Washington game. Obviously, Hurts gets hurt, and stuff falls off the rails kind of a little bit for the past couple weeks.
Yeah.
Enough of the voices from outside were talking again. And if there's one team, at least in the playoffs, maybe not the NFL as we know, but there's one team in the NFL that the outside voices seem to affect more so than anybody else, it's the Eagles.
Yeah.
I just don't know if Sirianni overthinks himself enough in this game or not to the point that it's going to be a detriment. And I think it's going to be. Now, that being said, we saw Jordan Love get dinged up a little bit last week. Held him out more as a precaution as we've come to find out. But man, part of me would love nothing more if this game was Malik Willis versus Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
In a weird, psychotic way.
Unfortunately, I don't know if it's if I want to use the Y, but I feel like this is the only chance I'm going to have to use it.
Probably really is.
I don't like using it on the Eagles, that's for sure.
That's definitely. But if you have to use it now, I
think we're going to agree.
for the fact of I don't want to give too much away from my X picks. I think you're better off using your Y now if you're going to.
I think so too.
So
why, Paul?
I just kind of I just laid it out.
I know, but
if you want me to go a little bit further, I will. I think Green Bay's defense has been kind of slept on a lot all year too, frankly. That being said, last couple of weeks haven't been stellar. Going into the last couple of weeks. Last week they did enough all right to just kind of get by. But I think at one point they were up as like the second best defense in the NFL. I think they kind of plateaued at about fifth. But like for a defense that nobody was really talking about all year, like that's pretty damn good.
yeah.
Better than the Eagles, and everybody talks about how good the Eagles' defense was this year. They numerically are better than the Eagles' defense.
Don't get me wrong. I want the Eagles to lose this game. I just think they're going to win this game. The concerns around Jordan Love's health. Obviously, nobody's 100% this time.
No, nobody, yeah.
And then losing Christian Watson is it's whatever. I mean, he's kind of been not great.
But they've survived a ton all year without him anyway.
Yeah, I mean that's not going to kill him too much. But not to jump back, I think we forgot to mention Zeke. What his impact's going to be for the Chargers?
Next to nothing.
But I think Hurts is going to play because if he doesn't, they're done. They need him out there, and because A.J. Brown needs to get the ball. But definitely not room for the Eagles. I just think they're going to win this game. I don't know if the Packers can do it 2 years in a row, pull off this big upset against the great NFC East. But also, the NFC North. I don't know. People are thinking, can 3 NFC North teams get to the divisional round? I don't think so. We haven't seen an NFC North team represent our conference since the Packers all those years ago. It's been that long. And they're the best conference supposedly this year. I don't know. I think Detroit is the best. Don't know about the division. But going to go with Eagles. That's all I really want to say about it. I don't want to talk about it.
It's fair. Because we have to bounce to another NFC East team in the Sunday night game. Washington, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay 3-point favorites.
Can I start?
Yeah, go. I'll let you take the wheel.
I am sick and tired of that graphic, Paul, just because I think of your family every time.
Graphic.
The 3 teams that it's been the longest since they won a playoff game is the Dolphins, the Raiders, and the Commandos. I'm sick of that graphic, Paul, and that is going to end now. We're going to leave Pat and John in the dust, and it's going to be Paul out of that graphic because the Washington Commanders are going to get the playoff win this week. They're going to beat your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know you're a big Baker guy over there.
I am a Baker guy. And Mike Evans.
And
Sean Tucker.
So they're your team.
And Vita Vea.
They're going to beat your Bucks this week, and the Commandos are going to go into Detroit next
Ali
week.
Marpet.
Yeah.
Even though he's retired.
Great career, though.
Shout out Hobart.
Yep. Super Bowl champ. But, yeah, I think Washington, Jaden Daniels, we talking about Bo Nix and rookie quarterback. This is Jaden Daniels now. This is what we've been waiting for, Paul. Washington is going to win a playoff game this week. Believe it.
I agree. I'm taking Washington here. Different reasons, though. They played week 1 this year. Completely different situation this time around, obviously. The Buccaneers minus Chris Godwin, but they've kind of made it work. Commanders have been pretty much healthy adjacent all year for the most part. I think this is going to be close. This might be, in my mind, the second best game of the weekend, potentially behind what will be the Monday night game, which we'll get to in a second here. Frankly, it's a toss-up game to me. I'm going Washington. I think I'm just letting my homerism go on that one. But, man, dude, I think it's going to be a really awesome game. I think these two teams match up pretty well against each other right now. You want to talk about a couple really underrated coaches throughout time, right? Dan Quinn, say what you want about him, Todd Bowles. I mean, this is going to be pretty fun. This is going to be a fun game.
How did the NFC South get a 3 seed?
I think the fact that, Well, that's a good point now that I'm kind of thinking about it. Well, I think it's because the West ended up being pretty rough this year.
And the North got so many.
To be fair.
And the North got so many wins.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of that, Minnesota and the Rams Monday night.
See, now I think we're going to agree.
Excellent job on that one. So the Rams are actually a 1-point underdog at home in this game.
I think we're going to agree because I'm going to take the Rams in this game.
And I'm taking the Rams as well, actually.
Yes, I thought that might be the case.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on the Vikings. Talk about it.
I don't think it's so much I'm not sold on them. I think it's much more of a I guess reverse hangover effect in a way. Like you were so good all year.
That close to the 1 seed.
That now you have to go on the road for at least this first game. And this is where you hope that Kevin O'Connell is as good as a coach as he is, that that's not the reason you lose in the end, right? Because on paper, really, to be fair, it should be the Vikings, no question here in my mind.
4 games better,
right? But man, the Rams they've been playing better football the second half of the year. Obviously, they get people back and healthy and everything. Stafford has 180'd what his year was going to be compared to week 5 of this year, where we were, frankly, I was just we're probably seeing the end of him. Now I'm not too sure if that's the case. I just think what the Rams got going, and frankly what maybe the Vikings have going against them, just leads me to take the Rams in this game.
Yeah, I'm taking the Rams. It's amazing how you go from 1 week thinking, oh, Sam Darnold's going to be our quarterback, and now you're like, so we go back with McCarthy next year?
Well, that's the crazy part, right? Is they're looking to possibly trade McCarthy.
The Vikings don't get as much love as the Cowboys do, but they're just the same team.
Yeah.
We don't go playoffs without the Vikings are going to lose before the Super Bowl sometime.
Yeah.
They choke all the time, and I think it's going to be an early exit for the Vikings. And then, Sam Darnold, that was his biggest game of his career on Sunday night, and he didn't come to play. He's got another big game here. Is this his first playoff game? I would assume so, right? I don't remember him ever starting a playoff game. He's barely ever been a starting quarterback.
Well, no, didn't he have to play? Well, he at least had to play in one last year, right?
Who was he with? The Niners?
San Fran. Because didn't Purdy get knocked out?
I can't remember.
I could be wrong, but at least starting-wise for sure, anyway.
Yeah, so, it's still a big game this weekend.
Yeah.
I just think the Rams are going to win at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think with Washington winning, there's a chance that actually, that's right, the Chargers can't host the game. So I was trying to figure out how the LA teams can both host the conference championship. But anyway, it's crazy how so I'm taking the Rams, but it's crazy how the NFC first round is more exciting this week than the AFC first round.
Yeah.
But then next week, I think the AFC semifinals is going to be very intense.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, speaking of semifinals, we're going to do the same thing here as we did with the NFL for the college football playoff semifinal here. Already did the recaps, right? It's been pretty much a week plus now out. A week, but because of the way the podcast fell last week, we already discussed, the games that were in the quarterfinals. So we get to the semifinal. I'd say really the only interesting part outside of maybe football itself is the fact that we have a storm impeding upon Dallas, and game Cotton Bowl should be unaffected. Well, it will be affected, but the game will be unaffected. So we'll begin, I guess, obviously with the Orange Bowl, the first semifinal game tomorrow night, Thursday. Number 7, Notre Dame. Number 6, Penn State. Penn State is a 1.5-point underdog against the Fighting Irish. Now, I think, are both picking the same way in this game. I'm leaning towards. It's interesting. I think if you were to ask me a month ago, I would say Notre Dame outright, no question, whatever. Penn State has certainly changed the tide on some narrative. They've certainly have looked, in my mind, like a different football team compared to the regular season.
Great defense.
In this playoff. I do think it comes to an end here.
Very similar teams.
Yeah, I think defense first is obviously for both these teams. I think the offense for both, maybe a hair slept upon, but I think Notre Dame's offense is, I'm confident enough saying, better than Penn State's offense, which is obviously, I think, where it's going to have to break because these defenses are both pretty good. And maybe that's the thing, right? I'm looking more through the lens of like, well, Penn State, I've been saying this all year about them, so it's got to still be hanging true. There's something about this Notre Dame team. I predicted them at the start of the year to at least make a run to this playoff and get through the playoff.
It's not your normal Notre Dame.
Correct. Something just feels different. I don't know. I'm sticking with my guns, though, on this one with Notre Dame.
Quick question. Has Syracuse ever played in the Orange Bowl?
Yes.
Did they win?
I believe so.
Orange. We got to get that to happen.
They were
again.
the Orange Men at the time still, but...
Yeah, I remember the Orange Men.
What the hell was that?
The Orange Men.
Okay, then.
I think Notre Dame should win this game. They definitely could win this game. There's a reason they're here. And but Penn State has kind of like... Who have they played?
They're passing the vibe check, is what you're saying.
Yes, they've definitely, because they hung with Ohio State, they hung with Oregon, and they beat. I mean, Boise State gave them a game for a little bit there, but they beat SMU and Boise State pretty easily, and those two teams aren't, teams to slack on. It's gonna come down, to the head coaching. Who's going to come up with a better game plan? Because one thing we don't really talk about was the Georgia game. Marcus Freeman, he beat Georgia at all facets of the game.
Mm-hmm.
All three facets. If he does that again and they win the turnover battle against Penn State don't got a shot in this game. And you guys can go back to Happy Valley, go visit Hershey Park, and get out of here. So I like the matchup. I think we got a shot to get to the national championship game for the first time since 2013.
Yeah.
2012 season. Yeah, 2013.
I hate the way football does that.
Yeah, I hate it too. It's like Denver Broncos. They said they haven't made the playoffs since 2015. Is that the 2016 playoffs, I assume?
I guess, right?
They said they haven't made it since 2015.
Yeah.
So is
Yeah.
that 10 years ago or 9? I don't know. But
I hate questioning the way football does it, man.
Yeah. But I'm looking really forward to this game. I'm off from work tomorrow, so I'm all excited.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good game. I'd like to see him get to the national championship game. And if we get there, I'm rooting for Ohio State because I want them.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so we'll get to that game now. The Cotton Bowl, number 8, Ohio State, number 5, Texas, which is Friday night. Texas, a 5.5-point underdog in this game. Feels like a lot of points in this. Yes. But, you want to talk about two teams I friggin' hate for no reason, pretty much. But
you hate all 4 of these teams.
Yeah, you're right. You're definitely right there. At least Penn State and Notre Dame are like outright true rivals in the sense of Syracuse. Can't really say the same necessarily about Ohio State. What?
We're putting the ACC on our back, man.
No. You aren't ACC. If anybody's putting the ACC on the back, it's Syracuse and Louisville. Okay.
Yeah.
No. Don't you do that? It's Big East and the old CUSA putting the ACC on their back.
Do you want us or not? We'll put the ACC on our back.
But the question is whether or not you want us or not. It's whether or not you're coming or not.
We'll take the 14 mil.
Best I can do is tree fitty. Anyway.
Quinn Ewers.
Isn't it weird, though, that Texas is a perceived big underdog as they are against
I can't believe that.
It's kind of crazy, isn't it? Especially, you're like an hour away from Austin.
I know. It's because of how Ohio State beat Oregon.
It's got to be, right?
They're run off that high, but you're right. It is a home game.
Pretty much, yeah.
Ohio State will show up, but people are acting like Ohio State's this red-hot team. They just lost to Michigan.
And that's the thing, too, right? Like, not even so much that. Even after the Tennessee game, there were still the rumblings of just well, it's Ryan Day, and it's Ohio State, and I still feel that way to a degree. But I'm just sitting there going, seems like a lot of points to me.
As long as Sarkisian doesn't put his arms around the kicker, we'll be good.
Oh my gosh. I knew the minute they showed that, I'm like, this kid's missing it. Like, I just knew.
Don't mess up, kid.
Well, it's similar to like the SEC title game where like they're just like they're rattling off his numbers. I'm like, this boy's missing this one.
But both should be really good games.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Thursday, Friday? I mean, there's no other days you could.
Yeah, I mean, I think this one has to do more obviously with the NFL
Yeah.
playoffs beginning on Saturday because, I mean, to me, I don't know why you wouldn't have them honestly on Saturday. Maybe one Friday, one Saturday, but like,
You'd have to put it one.
yeah, it's tomorrow's going to be weird. It's just going to be a weird feeling. Only because like I think the Thursday and it's a little bit different even for like me compared to you, where like I know like you'll watch Thursday college football just because it's on, but for me it's like I watch it because I enjoy college football and look, people can say what they want about me, I don't care, but I enjoy watching all the conferences and stuff like that.
I know it wasn't originally planned, but I did enjoy that 4:30 Notre Dame start or whatever, 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
But like it's definitely going to be a weird. Just I think it's going to be more weird the fact that it's such a big game on Thursday night. Not to take away from a game, say like Tulane versus Memphis, for example, which really good American Conference game, right? On a Thursday, but like, and it's I guess even that it's still comparing apples to oranges in a way, but like, just the fact of the matter, it's going to be Notre Dame, Penn State. With a trip to have the opportunity to win the national title on the line.
You know what's weird is they play on Saturday all year long.
Yeah.
And they haven't had a Saturday playoff game since the first round, and they're not going to have another one.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
I mean, and that's the other part of it too, where it's like maybe it's not as big a deal as we're making it for some of the kids, only because like look, Power 4 conferences do play Friday nights and stuff like that. Like, not to say that. They don't play Thursday nights. I mean, ACC has a Thursday night game a week for a month.
Thursday night and Friday night are still great nights of television.
Right, but like Friday night, you're maybe more anticipating of it. I think the only way, well, not the only way, I think the only reason why it works out the way it does is the fact that they played within the past 7 days, so it's kind of a natural football rest cycle.
And I'm not too worried about that. People are nervous that, that Penn State's had 2 more days of rest. I'm not nervous about that.
No, if it was more than 2 days, if it was more, say, like pushing like 4 or 5, then yeah, I think there would be more of a discussion. But 2 days for football, I don't think it's making that big of a difference. It's not like where I think going back to like the bye teams like we were talking about last week in the sense of rest versus rust. You know what I mean?
But if Notre Dame does win this game, then we can prove that we should have been the 6th seed.
Hey, look, I personally thought they should have been the 5th seed no matter what. I think Championship Sunday kind of tanked them in a way that shouldn't have happened. I don't like the way the rule is, but they agreed to it, so it's not much I can do.
You see James Franklin's already come at Notre Dame.
It's because James Franklin's a tool. Good for him.
Rank your coaches. The 4 of them.
Freeman's number 1.
He's just a nice guy.
Oh, he's just he's a lot like in this. I don't know if they're necessarily similar, right? But like, I view him kind of like Fran Brown, football guy, will do whatever it kind of takes for his guys.
Yeah, and that was thoughts and prayers go out to Kirby Smart's family. That was tough to see after hearing about his dad during that game. Yeah. It had been a tough night.
I mean, I don't think a guy like Kirby had affected him coaching wise, but at the same time, it's hard to believe it didn't in a way.
But rank your coaches.
Freeman's a pretty clear number 1. It pains me. I'd probably go Sarkisian after it. But,
and then your 2 favorites. The Big Ten guys.
You know what's wild? I would probably put frickin' Franklin 3.
Yeah, I can't.
That part's painful.
I hate Ryan Day.
Well, Ryan Day's such a clear-cut number 4 for me. My God. Anyway, we're going.
We want Ryan Day versus Lou Holtz.
I'm going Texas, by the way. I don't think I said the picks yet, but I'm going Texas.
I'm going Ohio State.
Gosh, yeah. I mean, I think this one's more of the toss-up of the game than the other one, if I'm just being honest. Man, a lot's going to have to do, I think, with this game coming down to whoever's got who comes out of the gate better. Yeah.
If they come out like they did against Oregon, Ohio State, they could.
And if Texas comes out and
Texas always
to be fair to Texas, they came out pretty good against Arizona State. Yeah. They can't come out like they did against Georgia, though. You know what I mean? They came up pretty good against Clemson, I would say, as well.
And
So,
I mean, we talked about it last week, but that Arizona State Texas game's been the best game.
oh, it fed generations.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what, frankly, like when we talk about college football, like that's what college football's about, like that game.
Yeah.
You know, so. All right. I think that about does it for the podcast this week.
Yeah.
I just want to really talk about football. Look, NFL has been so bad for the past like month and a half, 2 months that like we haven't actually been able to talk football in the sense that like we did today.
I think
which was nice.
I think we got 8 great games ahead of us this long weekend.
Yeah, and if not 8, I think we're talking majority are really at worst really good games.
Yep.
You know, so looking forward to that. I know we might be in the same spot Friday night, which will be pretty exciting for us. I know we're back broadcasting here on FL1. Myself and Nate Sharman back on the call. Geneva at Waterloo Boys Friday night, 7 o'clock. So looking forward to that. Tune in if you can. I know you're bouncing across all over the place pretty much. So I know you said maybe that game's on the menu for you. So hopefully we'll see you there for that. Who are you shouting out this week?
Quick couple notes to some teams here. Syracuse basketball, unofficial, official 2,000th career win the other night. Syracuse basketball. I'm not sure if that counts the wins they took away, but
It does not.
Also, shout out to North Dakota State, another FCS championship.
Holla.
And but my shout out's gonna go to my brother Matt. Pretty boring, but he's a big It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia fan, and so are you. Big fan tonight.
That's true.
Crossover tonight at 9:30 on ABC between It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and Abbott Elementary. Check that out. Gonna be good. Never seen Abbott Elementary, but I hear it's a good show.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, the Abbott Elementary is going to come on Sunny when they come out with their next season, apparently, too. And Abbott Elementary is an ABC show, so it's kind of more PG-ish.
Yes.
PG-13-ish.
Yeah.
But they're going to be, like, swearing when they come on Sunny, so it's going to be interesting. So, yeah, check that out, 9:30. Shout out my brother, big Sunny fan.
I'm intrigued to see how they do the character with Dennis there.
It's so many characters in a half-hour show. How do they give him so many lines?
I don't know. I'm just intrigued to see how they actually kind of do, because his is the only character with a true crossover, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know how that's going to work, but
Yeah, we'll see.
some Austin Powers, Dr. Evil type stuff. So, all right, appreciate it. We'll be back at it again next Wednesday. Nick, good luck with your picks this weekend.
Thank you.
Good luck with your Fighting Irish.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Love to make the title game.
Yeah. So, all right, we will be back, like I said, next Wednesday. Appreciate everybody for listening and tuning in. You can catch up with us anytime on the FingerLakes1.com YouTube channel. You can like, share, and subscribe over there. Same with podcast platforms like Spotify and Amazon Music. We'll talk again next week, everybody.